Because you got a little butt. Oh, how did I clap? Never mind. I didn't mean to clap. Hold on. Do it again. Do we have to do it again?
No, just you because you screwed up clapping.
I don't know. I don't know. There we go. Okay.
Good job. Thanks for playing. Hey, man.
Thank you.
Sweet. You ready to get started there?
I
Big
am.
Hoss?
Mm-hmm.
What do you put on first, your pants or a shirt?
My shirt.
How come?
Because I'm probably one of the weird ones in the world, and as long as my top and fingers are warm, my whole body can stay warm.
Okay, but what does that have to do with putting on a shirt?
Because if I get out of the shower, don't have any clothes on, I'm
Oh,
more
I
likely to
see.
warm up first if I put on a shirt than if I'm to put on pants.
See, I put on pants first.
I think
My
that's the
my
normal. I think that's normal.
Yeah, I think more people would put on pants first because my idea is like cover up the sensitive parts as quickly as possible. Because I'm always prepared, right? Like, what if I'm getting out of the shower and somebody breaks into my house and I wasted time putting on my shirt and then I got to run out there with no pants on and just my thing hanging out there? So I'm trying to be prepared and have my pants on as quickly as possible or shorts so I can be ready to roll. You're not
I've
thinking
also
ahead.
I've actually thought about that. I think it would be scarier if I come running down my hallway with my dinghy hanging out. I think that would get someone to stop a lot faster than if I didn't have a shirt on.
That's actually a really good point. I guess if I was a robber and I saw somebody like come running out of the shower, coming around a corner, and they didn't have a shirt on, I wouldn't think too much about that unless they were like jacked. But if they came out of the
Yeah.
shower running out and they didn't have any pants on, oh, your strategy might be better actually.
Because, I mean, in my case, it's the person, whoever it is, or whatever sex they are, is going to go, What is that thing?" And that split moment is going to be able to allow me to tackle them. And then, though they may stab or shoot me, at least I have the, availability to do so.
Okay, if you find yourself in a men's locker room, can you completely avoid looking at anybody else's equipment? Or do you accidentally see it? Can you maintain nothing but eye contact, or do you accidentally catch a glimpse at
Question.
other people's stuff?
What kind of question is that?
It's a legitimate question. Like, how good are you at just, nope, I can see a
I
naked
mean,
man right in front of him, and I won't look at his thing whatsoever.
gotten a lot better throughout the years. I will say when I was younger, you're a teenager, you're a kid, right? So I mean, and then there was one time a long time ago when I went to a Gold's Gym. Shout out Gold's Gym, where a guy had apparently elephantitis in one of his testicles. So I had to look. Like there's like, how can you not look at that? You have to take a look.
If you were in a male locker room, if you were in the men's side of a male locker room, and another guy just perfectly, like, it wasn't a sexual thing, wasn't
Hmm.
sexual in any way, he was just like, hey, man, great package. How would you react to that? It was like he was complimenting your car. It's just like, hey, man, nice car. And he was just like, hey, nice one.
I mean, I never have to worry about that. But if that ever did happen, I mean, I think the first reaction would be you'd probably be a little thrown off by it, maybe. But let's just say that I wasn't thrown off by it. I would be great, man. Thanks. You want to touch it? I mean, you want to hang out? Thank you. I mean, okay, let's just go. No, I don't know. I will never be in that situation. Nobody in a locker room is going to look and be like, I'm gonna compliment that guy.
I'm just going to compliment that guy's Johnson.
Nobody's
Like,
gonna
hey,
do that.
man, great dick. Great dick.
I would say that even men who are complimentary of other men probably don't do that in locker rooms. I think it takes like seriously. I think maybe joking around if you know the person, I guess you could say something, but I don't think strangers just walk up to other strangers and be like, "Hey." I mean, do you think women don't do that right in locker rooms? Probably not.
I don't know. Maybe I think a woman would be more likely to say like, "Oh, nice breasts," than a man would be like, "Hey, great shaft." Like, it's a great shaft you got there.
How is this even a thing? Like, what are we talking about? I like, I think a woman would be more likely to look at another girl's boobs and be like, "Hey, nice rack," before a guy's like, "Yeah, check out your your dog, man."
It's
I
like,
can't
man, look at that guy, Jerry. Come look at this guy's.
look at the friggin' hook on that thing.
Okay, well,
Anyways,
going back to our initial question, polled the audience. 54% of people say they put on pants first, which I think is probably the more prevalent. I think most people would start at the bottom and work their way to the top. 46% of people say shirts first.
I'm still I'm still thinking about the whole dick question. So, anyways, yes,
Never had
great.
somebody compliment your dong? Like, hey, man,
Never,
great dong.
never. But I will say, I think not in the last decade, but I was in the gym, believe it or not, for some of my life. I think the hardest part to avoid contact or eye to eye contact is when you're like in a sauna or something. That's probably the hardest, I would think.
I don't. I'm not a sauna person.
Oh man, I love a good sauna. Just sweat it all out of me.
Sweating it out to me, that like doesn't make any sense. Like, let's just go be real hot. Like, no,
Yeah.
why don't you just? What's the point? Why don't you just like run in a sweatshirt?
Here's what you need to do: get some Centauro whiskey that you like or whatever. Just drink a half of it and then go into a sauna and it gets rid of it all in an hour. It's great.
I don't think that's how the body works, but
No? Are you sure?
I don't think that's exactly how that works. But if you want to try that system, that's probably gonna not work out for you. Okay,
Our
what's this story that you want to tell me?
our new president, by the way, says I can be anything I want, so I'm going to be a doctor from now on.
That's
There's
the
actually
biggest lie in America. This doesn't have to do with the president, current president, but like, no, you can't be anything you want. You can't be anything you want, and you never could be anything you want. You can grow up to be whatever you want to be. No, you can't, because if you're 5'6", you're not going to be in the NBA. So you can't grow up in the NBA. We need to stop lying to children
Though
and to tell them the truth.
there has been one or two NBA players that were below 5'6", I think, that made
Right,
it.
that is the exception, not the rule. That is the
Sure,
exception
yeah.
that proves the rule.
I actually have two stories. One, and we kind of talked about this a little bit last week, and I think it's a question no one's really thought about, so we don't really have to spend a lot of time on it, but I wanted to get it out
Okay.
there. What's the most you've ever spent for a drink at a restaurant or bar?
Oh, I'm cheap. Probably not more than $15.
Well, I don't know how I got conned into this, but I got conned into paying for a $60 glass/shot of Pappy Van Winkle's, which is apparently a very nice bourbon, I think.
How do you get conned in? I'm not susceptible to peer pressure.
I also don't know, like, so I drink a lot of alcohol, but I'm not like up on scotch, whiskey, and
Mm-hmm.
bourbon really. So when this came out, like, I was just like, oh, that's great. I shot it like one of the people at the table that was with me. I mean, I thought he was gonna punch me. He's like, you don't shoot it. You're supposed to sip it.
Yeah, you don't shoot a $60 glass of whiskey.
Yeah, well, I didn't really want to drink it, but like I said, I got conned into it thinking it may taste good. And then it became this whole thing because then one of the guys at the table said that it wasn't Pappy's, and like it became this whole thing. So.
Okay,
All
well,
right,
I
but that's
thought I
not
was
the
going to be
story.
interested in this. Was that
Here,
the interesting story, or was
no,
that the?
here's the interesting story.
Okay, all right.
I went to McDonald's with my children,
Okay.
and apparently they don't have like people at the counter anymore that take your order unless it's like an emergency.
Oh, or I mean, I think they would probably do it. Like,
They do. Hold on. So I take my kids, and of course they want they're like their fucking mom, like they just can't get a burger, like they have to get a burger minus this, minus that, right? So I
mm,
order all this shit, and not all this shit, but the food, and I press complete order, and I go to stick my card in or tap my card to pay for it, and it's like, no, you can't do this. You have to go through our app to pay for it.
oh, that's ridiculous. But first of all, that they're just trying to trick you. You're not looking at the screen right enough. I think that basically, if I can jump ahead of this story a little bit, I think the basic problem is that you're not reading, actually taking time to learn how to do something, and you
Nope,
don't
nope,
like it because you have to learn how to do something new, and you don't want to put in the effort
nope,
and the
nope.
time that it takes to learn how to do something new. You need to evolve in life. Right? You need to learn how to do new things and adjust to the way that society is going. Society doesn't revolve around you, John. You need to adjust to society, and this is the future of society. You can complain about it as much as you want, but this is what you're going to have to do if you want to exist.
Nope, not doing it. Long story short, I walked out of there pissed off as all hell because they embarrassed me, and then I left and I just went home. So
How did they embarrass you? McDonald's, how did McDonald's embarrass you?
Well, it said, okay, if you want to pay for it at the counter, press receipt, and it gives you. It's supposed to give you a receipt. You take it up the counter, and you pay, right? I
Yeah.
did that once. Nothing came out. I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't do something right. Went through the entire thing again. Downloaded the app. The app thing wasn't working on any of the 4 kiosks. So I'm like, you know what? I'll press receipt again. Doesn't give me a receipt. So then I go up to the counter and I'm pressing the stupid little bell they have there, ring bell for service. Finally, after 5 minutes, I get somebody, and the young man comes up to me and we're kind of having a chat. He seems a little annoyed with me. Whatever.
Well, yeah, because we were probably the 50th person he's had to help this out.
Sure. Well, I was annoyed too, but who cares about customer service anymore? He tells me that he can't look up my order unless I have a receipt. And I'm like, I can't print the receipt because you don't have any paper in there. Well, then he says, sir, I don't know how to help you. And I said, okay, can I just order here then? And then he's like, I have to go get somebody else for that. I'm working the drive-through. And I said, I understand you're working the drive-through, but what am I supposed to do as the customer? So then I waited for another 5 minutes. Nobody came up, and I just left.
Nice. I mean, I went to a McDonald's and it took me about 2 minutes to get my food, and I went through one of those order screens and didn't have any problems.
It's
The
stupid.
problem is, it's like, okay, you have to. This is my thing. You have to adjust to the way that society is moving on because progress is not going to stop. This is always that it's going to be. We're not going back to the old days. We're not going back to like McDonald's greeting you at the thing, holding your little baby hand, helping you out, picking the pickles off for you. You're going to have to be a man and do things on your own. And you're going to have to learn how to order food at McDonald's. Okay?
See, here's the thing.
If you're having trouble with this, you're going to have a lot bigger problems moving forward. You got to learn how to use the iPhone so you can understand the computer.
I clearly I'm not the issue because I operate in general on things that are moving forward on progressive issues. What scares me is the generations below us that don't want to problem solve at all. That I mean, they might know how to work a computer screen, but like, it's just scary. It was a scary moment. Yes, it was probably my fault, even though their stupid thing wasn't like the app reader wasn't working, and they didn't have paper in any of their machines. And then knucklehead apparently didn't know how to operate a counter, but it's fine. It's my fault. So, anyways, it doesn't matter. Let's just move on.
Look, just admit to the fact that you are a 35, 37-ish year old man with the mentality of a 77-year-old.
All I wanted to do was try to do something nice for my children. I don't even like McDonald's. I don't even like walking. I don't even like walking into fast food places. I don't like it.
I just think that like you are ultimately the determiner of how a situation goes and how you respond to that. You could have had a nice, pleasant day. Maybe you don't get McDonald's, so maybe you go into the field and pick blueberries or whatever, right? Like you have to make the situation what the situation is. You can't have everybody hand you things all your life, right? You can't expect to just go to McDonald's and say, "Hey, everybody, make my day better." They're just gonna give you some food.
Not it at all. Get machines that fucking work. Anyways,
They probably do.
I'm just gonna. I felt like I was on
a 90% chance that's operator error is involved in that.
I legit felt like
take the time to read it.
I felt like I was on like an episode of Punk'd. I thought someone's gonna walk out of the blue and be like, oh, like, but no. Instead, it doesn't matter. Can we just move on to shout outs?
Yeah,
I'm getting heated. Like,
okay,
my
cranky.
face is getting red. Like, I'm just.
Why don't you have service anymore? Rah, 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 rah. Back in my day, you used to have somebody greet you as soon as you walk in the door, and they take your order and they bring it out to you. You didn't even have to leave a tip. Now you got to leave a tip, and you got to press the buttons on the thing and the electronics. And I don't know where my data's going. And like, God, dude, like you can't go down this road. You are too young to go down this road of complaining about technology and not being able to exist in society. You are at a crossroads right now, my friend. You can turn around and you can go on a new path, or you can go cranky Kong and you can spend the rest of your life bitching about every single thing that happens to you.
All I wanted was some service. You're a customer service representative. That's what you are. Help me. That's all I wanted.
Oh, okay. Well, change society then, dude. Take over McDonald's.
These are going to be the most angry shout-outs I've given it.
You're...
And I apologize for that.
Good.
So I'm going to try to be happy. I'm going to try to do it in a very pleasant tone. So
okay.
Let's see. We'll start with David Franks, Jamie Phelan, Maria Lawless. Needed some law at that McDonald's yesterday, I tell you that.
There we go. That didn't go long. You got 3 things. See, now you got to bring it back. You always
I
got to
am.
bring it back to the complaints about
Going back.
society and the kids
I'm
of
good.
today.
I'm good. Frank Gill, Brandon Blakely, Jordan Liardon, Ayub Aloui, Ken Smith, Jonathan Ho, and Denise Holzer.
Why
Appreciate
doesn't
all of
everybody
you.
just have the same name and pronounce the way that it was supposed to be spelled in the Bible, and then I wouldn't have to read all these things? Why can't all of society just exist in a way that makes my life easier?
Yeah, that's why we pay people who are customer service representatives.
Yeah, dude, they work at McDonald's. Look, that's never going to happen again. It is never going to happen again because we
What?
have reached the stage in society in which you are no longer able to make money by providing people a service. You have to now make money by getting into the other person's pocket. So all of that stuff is just over with, and you might as well adjust to it.
Right. I'm not. Yeah. Whatever. I'm just. Half of it's me fighting with technology, and then my kids were. It's always one big stressor. You know what I mean? It just.
Life's what you make it, man. Life is what you make it.
Oh, okay. There, Joe Biden. Anyways, I don't know. I had some stuff to talk about. I'm still.
Just flustered.
I'm flustered. I'm angry. I'm just gonna try to take a second just to come back.
Okay. You want to talk about the
Um,
Detroit Lions for the first time ever that they had a good team and they completely blew it? It looks like everybody else besides the people in Detroit knew that they were. Does that make you feel better? The fact that they had their best season in years and they still lost and gave the game away and it was entirely their fault, and now they're trying to probably, just like you, like everybody else from Detroit,
No.
always got some excuse trying to blame somebody else.
No, I
It's the
mean,
refs.
I can give you here's my 30 seconds on them. One, they had the best season ever in their franchise history.
Still lost.
But I mean,
The first round of the playoffs.
anytime that you
Sorry.
commit 5 turnovers, I mean, they still put up 31 points. I mean, but if your defense can't hold a team to under 31 points in the playoffs, it's going to be really hard to win. So it's you can say they. I mean, they lost their best defensive player earlier in the year. They lost their best cornerback due to a broken elbow, like on the second play. But
Lions gonna Lions, man.
at the end of the day, unfortunately, Lions are gonna Lions. So
Lions are gonna Lions.
it
Maybe
sucks.
they should blame the kids. Maybe they should blame the kids of today.
Yeah, if I could, I would jump through this monitor.
I know.
I was so hot. My
Oh,
wife
yeah.
agreed with you, and it made me even more angry.
Yeah, dude, I don't know why you ever got your hopes up. Like they're
I-
always Lions gonna Lions.
Oh, the Lion. Oh, I'm not. I'm just talking about McDonald's again.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like, anyways,
Okay,
it ended up working out. I took my anger, I turned it into positivity, and it was a good evening. So
There you go. That's all you gotta do,
Um,
man.
yeah. Let's see. Do we want to talk at all about Trump being inaugurated today again? Like,
Not really.
should we make any predictions for if we're still doing this in 4 years?
My prediction is. Okay, can I go on a political rant?
I mean, I just talked about being old and not knowing how to operate a computer screen for 5 minutes, so please.
My problem. We don't go into politics, and like, look, my issue with moving forward is that a lot of the things that are proposed, like, they just don't work. Like, you just can't do that. I think that Democrats can't ever get anything done because their ideas are achievable, but they can't get them done. And then Republicans' ideas are just terrible. So we're always stuck in this place of, like, one group proposes terrible ideas and the other group can't get anything done. So we're ultimately just stuck here. I think the problem is that the middle class is just going to continue to get screwed. And that's how we're going to go. It's not going to change. That's not going to change until we all just kind of rise up. And I think that we're quickly approaching the point where eventually the middle class is just going to have enough.
So you're predicting an all-out war in 4 years? Is what you're saying?
No, I'm predicting that nothing will change and everything will stay the same.
Isn't that a
And-
song?
Yeah, man. I don't know what it is. I
Well-
just don't want to look at anything. That's my thing. I don't want anything to do with politics for a while. So
I know,
let's
let's
just
just
move on.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I get kind of jealous of people who can just completely not have to pay attention at all, because I feel like they automatically live a healthier lifestyle than anyone who is involved that has to deal with it.
Yeah, most things life just goes on,
Like when you
but some
don't know
things
how to
they
work
don't.
a computer All right. Let's see. Out of all the movies in the world that you don't want to make a sequel to, I feel like this is number one.
Here we go. What's with you and always complaining about movie sequels?
Cameron Diaz said that she is in to make a sequel to The Mask if Jim Carrey is.
I mean, I'm not gonna watch it. Do what you want. Like, I could care. Like, I don't know. Why do you get upset about these things?
I just want originality. You know, I want someone to help me at McDonald's. You know what I mean? I want someone. I just want. I want original ideas. I want people to use their brains and think, not just rely on technology and overused ideas to stimulate our already unstimulated brains.
That's what's really difficult, though, for me, is that ultimately, like, it's blaming the people who produce things for the thing that you consume, right? Like, you can hate the Kardashians. They're kind of over now, but you can hate the Kardashians, but you're watching it. So, like, you have to be the change that you want in the world. I think that this comes back to the things that we talked about. You are in control of your situation. You have to be the change. If you want things to change, then change them. You don't want them to stop. They keep making movie sequels. Stop watching movie sequels.
I just
like, you have control in this world. You don't like the way McDonald's is headed, the way that they're doing things. Don't go there. Like, you have a voice. Use it.
But we don't have control. That's the whole thing.
It's because everybody gives up right before, but you do have control. You have far more control than you realize. It's just really difficult for us to exert it. But you have to do it on a daily basis and continue to do it. You have to make choices based on what you want the outcome to be rather than the immediate need that you're facing.
I think we should just end the episode there.
Okay. All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to complain about?
No.
I wish somebody else would do something. No, you got to do it.
I do.
Be
plenty.
the change, John.
I do plenty. You don't got to worry about me. Just not going to McDonald's ever again.
Okay, good. Be the change. Complain to McDonald's.
Grass-fed hamburgers, my ass. Anyways,
I don't believe any of that stuff. I mean,
yeah,
they're probably grass-fed at some point. They probably had glass at some point. So.
Yeah, maybe when they were babies. All right, let's just go on to our top five. I think
we're going all the way there, huh? You've given up on everything, huh? I like it. I like it.
Let's
Phone it all in.
Okay. Let's go. This is going to be much better.
All of my life. Okay.
And much more fun than anything I'm going to bring up this episode.
Do you want to talk about the weather? We're not talking about the weather.
I mean, it's for the next 4 days in Michigan, at least where I live in southeast Michigan. It's in single digits, and the wind is going to make it in the negatives pretty much all day, every day. But I don't find it that cold. Like, I still go outside in, like, a sweatshirt, blue, like, jeans. Like, I mean, I'll dress up if I'm going to be outside for 10 minutes. But, like, it's cold. Like, get over it. It happens.
Yeah, I agree. The only time that I would ever say that I have changed my life due to cold weather was when I went to Canada and it was negative 50, and I was like, oh, I can't go outside in this. That was way too much. We're not talking about the weather. We're going over to movies.
You did that. I didn't do it. You did it.
I did it as a joke, and then you went on about it for 5 minutes like you always do, about the weather and about the kids today and about... Anyway.
God dang it.
Okay, so our top five is top five most quotable movies. What's your number five?
This was a hard list to kind of narrow it down to 5 movies, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty difficult because there's a lot that you could put in there, and it kind of depends on like the state of mind that you're in and what's going on. So it's a little bit like time dependent, but anyway.
So my number 5, and I think it's quotable. It's for sure quotable if you've seen it. I just never realized how many people have actually seen it until they tell you that they've seen it, and that's The Big Lebowski.
Oh, that's a very quotable movie. The dude abides. Donnie, you're out of your element.
Fuck you, Donnie. I love it. I love Steve Buscemi and John Goodman's roles in that movie.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't have it on my top 5, but I had it I've thought about it a lot. I thought that it could go into my top 5. My number 5 is Dumb and Dumber.
That's a good one too. I don't have that on my list, but that's big gulps, hey fellas. Well,
big gulp.
See you later.
See you later.
That's a good one, man.
Dumb and Dumber is way up there in terms of good quotes. That's number 4.
Man, that's a good. That's a really good one. This is probably the boring one on my list, but I feel like I had to, and that's just The Godfather.
Oh, I have The Godfather on my list too. A
I
little
mean,
bit higher.
there's so many quotes from that had like transcended cinema that we still use today, and it's just yeah. But it's like the boring one. Like I'm not excited about it. I just feel like it had to be on there.
Okay. My number 4 is Stepbrothers.
Yes, another great one, man. Just another
I was
good one.
watching Cops. Anytime I'm sweaty and my wife asks me why I'm sweaty, I'll just say I was watching Cops.
Love when he's like, Brandon, get your nuts off my drum set.
Can't have nuts on drum set, man.
Oh,
Is your
have
number
you
8?
ever been that upset from somebody touching something of yours that you would fight them?
No.
No, that's fair.
I think one of the most upset that I've ever been in my life was when my sister turned off my Mario game right as I was getting to a certain level that I was really working on. That's probably the most upset I've ever been in my life. But I'm not a person who gets really upset about things.
Yeah, you don't. You've never really been much of a emotional guy, really.
No, sentimental, but not. I don't usually let my emotions get the better of me, especially not at McDonald's because I can't figure out how to work out the counter. Just probably just press the button and you're gonna be okay. Okay, you're number 3.
Just so you know, I've been kicked out of multiple fast food restaurants in my history. So
How do you?
maybe it's
Of course,
maybe
it's
it's me.
you. Like you've been kicked. Somebody actually kicked you out of a fast food restaurant. You were told to leave a fast food restaurant, not for drunken behavior. Sober, you've been kicked out of a restaurant.
Yeah, but it's always because I just expect like you to do your job. Like that's it. Like if someone was to come to my job and I didn't do my job, I get called out every hour. Like, and I
You're an
understand. Listen,
adult. These are like 16-year-old kids.
nah, I mean, that don't work there. Once again, and I'm not saying this because it's fast food. Like, I would do this anywhere. So don't say that. Don't think I'm like railroading fast food workers. But just saying. How are we back on this?
Because it's ridiculous, and because the more that your story evolves, the more ridiculous it ultimately becomes. Because here's another example of you getting mad at a fast food restaurant. It's not an isolated incident. You've been kicked out of multiple fast food restaurants for your behavior. And then you still are like, oh, somebody else is the problem. Like, no, dude, it's you. You're the
Uh,
problem.
nah.
You have to admit it to yourself. You have to admit it to yourself. And after this episode, I hope that you will have a moment of personal growth and you will look in the mirror and you will think about the situations that you were in and think to yourself, you know what? Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I need
Or
to make changes.
or in like 5 years, we'll look back when I'm in prison. And
Right.
anyways,
What if you go to
uh,
prison for like getting mad at him? Like that's you're just gonna snap. Do you think you're gonna snap someday? Do you feel like you're gonna snap someday?
no, I don't think so. Not at this age, because
What are the chances that you snap? On a scale of like 0% to 100%. Like give me perspective on the chances that you will snap in the next 5 years.
I say less than 10%. I mean, my
Come
kids
on.
always come into my mind. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do anything dumb enough to where I'd actually go to prison for a long time because I don't want to miss them growing up. So
Okay, I feel like my chances of snapping are 10%, so yours have to be you got to be 25 to 30.
fine, I'll say 30. Sure, I'll give a third. I have a third
30
of a chance of snapping.
in the next 5 years. Yeah, I could see it coming. I think for you it'll be a gradual buildup before you snap. Like there'll be signs, kind of. For me, it's just gonna be like boom.
I mean,
There'll be no signs. I'll just
I,
one day just lose it.
I definitely hold things in. Anyways, my number 3 is Anchorman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that. I don't have it on my list just because I personally don't like that movie because I used to be in the news industry and got kind of tired of it. But that's definitely way up there.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is The Godfather. But I think
Okay.
The Godfather, not in terms of me quoting it out loud to other people, but in terms of like life advice. I quote The Godfather internally to myself.
You just sit there and you're just rehashing just quotes,
What
huh?
would you do? What should you do in this situation? I internally quote The Godfather, not externally. I think that's what makes The Godfather unique.
My number 2 is not really just a specific movie of the franchise, but more or less just the franchise itself, and that's Star Wars.
Oh, you're like jumping each level. I have Star Wars as number one, and I would agree with you. Like, Star Wars is my number one, but it's more the franchise as a whole than it is an individual movie. If I had to pick an individual movie, though, I think that Revenge of the No, wait.
No,
What's
it,
the
it
second
has.
one called? Revenge of the Sith?
Nope. Well. I mean, which
Return
which
of
one are
the
you
Sith.
doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
First of all,
11.
everybody knows that you go in chronological order.
4, 5,
What's the
6.
second one called? The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
God, blanked on it. Empire Strikes Back is probably the most quotable, simply because of I Am Your Father.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably pick Jar Jar Binks. Probably he's probably the most quotable.
Oh, I hate you so much.
I know. That's fair.
My-
My number one
my
once
number
again.
two. It's my number two.
Oh, all right, fine. Yeah, you do your number two.
My number two is Caddyshack. You'll get
Okay.
nothing and like it. As a father, I've been using You'll Get Lucky and You'll Get Nothing and Like It a lot. So it's jumped up my ranks. But Caddyshack, very quotable movie to me.
Okay, all right. I mean, once again, you can't go wrong. My number one is Rocky. You know, more or less the Rocky franchise, but nevertheless Rocky itself.
I don't really see Rocky as a quotable movie, to be honest with you.
Oh man,
That's a surprising pick to me.
there is a scene, I think in number 5, where he talks about like, I used to hold you right here. Remember that scene? And every day I look at you and be so excited for you to grow up. And now look at you, look what you've begun. You can't let them beat you there. They'll keep
Oh,
you on your knees if you let them.
I don't. Is that
Anyways.
Rocky 5? I think that's one. Anyway,
Yeah. Anyways, so, but I mean, once again, I feel like you could interchange. I mean, I left Die Hard off the list, which I wanted to put on there. Forrest Gump, Ferris Bueller, Ghostbusters, Fight
Ooh.
Club. There's, you know, I mean, we probably just could have done like most quotable sports movies for us.
oh yeah.
Remember the Titans, Major League. You know,
Never seen either of those movies, to be honest with you. Other ones that I have on my list
course
that you
you
didn't mention: Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
okay.
It's merely a flesh wound.
That's
Uh,
really
Wizard of Oz,
okay.
Spaceballs. Spaceballs, I would say, as one singular space Star Wars themed movie, is more quotable than any of the Star Wars movies. But as a whole, Princess Bride, also.
Okay, I mean Prince. I mean they're all, you know, like when you go back to the Wizard of Oz. I thought about putting like Gone with the Wind, right? Like that's probably one of the most quotable lines ever. But do kids even say it anymore? Does the McDonald's ordering machine even know what that is?
Still mad about it, aren't you? No, I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think that people still count like quote like Casablanca or Gone with the Wind or Singing in the Rain.
This one's gonna sit for a minute.
Jumanji. I don't actually think Jumanji's on there, but
No, I don't know about Jumanji. And then, you know, I do have one. It's a personal favorite, but like Jurassic Park. Fucking love Jurassic Park.
God, you and my wife both.
We can watch Jurassic Park together anytime. I'd probably be better of a movie watcher with that than you are.
Oh, do you want to have a competition? Do you want to have a competition for Jurassic Park knowledge between you and my wife?
No, she would. Well,
Do you
Are we
think
doing
you could
movie?
beat her in-
movie trivia. I think I could probably hold my
Nope,
own.
just Jurassic Park. Only Jurassic Park could you beat my wife in a could you beat my wife in a Jurassic Park knowledge test?
I guess we'll see. Yeah, throw the challenge out there. Let's see if she accepts it.
Okay, I will. All right, I'm gonna stop it. If I figure out how.
Just press the end button. It's not that hard.
Oh, okay. From the guy who can't work a convenience thing at McDonald's.
I've been here every episode for the last